All right, episode 17. Me and my brother ACS here to talk about our top 3 quarterbacks of the week. Again, not a super making it about her getting all selfish. Thank you, Jenny. Just chewing on my microphone cord. Thank you for making it about you. Appreciate that. All right, we're good to go. Again, like I was saying, not a super exciting week in college football. Just a normal kind of run of the mill week, but or some really good quarterback play. Some play. You know, these are guys that you probably haven't. Not everybody's probably heard of, but they're damn good players and played at a really high level this week. And really, all 3 of them played in some big time games for their program, big time games for themselves and their seasons. And a lot of them kept their seasons alive. So Austyn, if you want to talk about those 3 guys and kind of intro them. That would be
Yeah. I'll brief intro these guys. We're talking about Luke Altmyer, who is the quarterback at Illinois. Now, he was a one-time guy at Ole Miss, where he was sitting at Ole Miss for a little bit, and then elected to make that transfer. Finds a new home in Illinois for the Fighting Brett Bielema's over there, and they're playing good defense and they're playing tough physical ball, kind of like he did at Arkansas. And he's a pretty damn good ball coach, man. And you go into Nebraska and you beat Nebraska. Tough situation for Nebraska just after such a big, like, emotional high, kind of putting a statement on Colorado last week to now have a short week and play against kind of a team that a lot of people don't know about, quite literally the opposite of Colorado, like a tough, gritty,
but probably better.
Probably better. We've been tough on CU the last couple weeks here, but hey, it is what it is.
We're anyway, Colorado State household.
Right. Right. KJ, shout out, dude. And so Luke Altmyer will be the first. I'll have Mitch talk about that one for sure. Then Graham Mertz, they beat Mississippi State at Florida, and he's in a very, very interesting quarterback situation right now with a lot of conversation about it. Also a tough situation to be in just in terms of where Florida's season is at right now and Billy Napier's tenure. And so to go out there and answer it the way that he did, we'll talk about that. And the last one was Garrett Greene. And my boy Mitch is like 3.5 from West Virginia. So if West Virginia pops on the map, dude, this guy's going to talk about West Virginia. So he's going to get into to Garrett Greene taking on Kansas. But why don't you start me off with Luke Altmyer? That was a primetime game. I think it was on Friday. And so people were watching and hadn't seen Illinois yet, but Illinois was an undefeated football team and a good football team, and going up to Nebraska, what'd you see from Luke? And always good to see a guy like, make it back to the big stage after making that transfer. So what have you been seeing there, Mitch, and how do you play against Nebraska?
Yeah, and if I'm not mistaken, I think Luke was the starter last year at Illinois, and at one point I think he got pulled. I could be wrong, but I think there was a little bit of a quarterback situation there where he was a starter, then wasn't the starter. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure there was something like that going on. So it's great to see him playing well, with confidence, and making plays and earning that starting role back. But yeah, you're going on the road. It's a big Big Ten matchup, and you're going on the road to Nebraska. A packed environment. And, everybody knows how passionate those fans are, and it's a huge game. Nebraska's got a ton of hype. They're 3-0, just beat Colorado pretty handedly. And for like the first time in a long time, people feel like Nebraska is back, and so it's a huge road game in conference versus a really, really good team who's hot, who's got a lot of hope, a lot of momentum. But man, he goes in there, plays calm, and goes for like 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. Just super smooth, played his ass off in a really tough environment. Pretty sure they were like 9-point underdogs, maybe 9.5-point underdogs.
Yeah.
Everything is against them, and man, he goes in there and wins the game for his team. Played awesome, just super calm, super confident, in a huge game. Illinois' biggest game of the year, and Nebraska, like you said, is coming off of a high, but they've played in a big game this year. They played, Colorado, and they got the job done there. So they've kind of had those big game experiences already this year and gained that confidence. But again, you're right. They're probably still on emotional high. It's a shorter week on a Friday. It's one less day, so you kind of got to get to work a little bit earlier. They probably still were on that emotional high, in the first few days of practice that week. And that plays a big role in your preparation for a game. But not to take anything away from Luke. He played awesome. Looked super smooth. Just played a great game, man. Went for I think he ran a touchdown, threw for 3.
Yep.
Had some awesome ball fakes under center too. Just some awesome play action fakes near the goal line, and just a good complete game. And Illinois is on the map, man. They're 4-0. I think they're 19th in the country now, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know who they play this week. They might play Penn State, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be another
I would
big
love
one.
to see
I think
that.
I saw that.
They do play Penn State. So that'll
Okay,
be a big
yes,
one. 4-0 against 3-0.
so
That'll be a
another
big
big
game.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, another big
Well,
one. And talk about a team that's on an emotional high. Illinois might be on that this week, so we'll see.
And Luke, I think he had about an 80% completion percentage. He threw for almost 250, and he threw for 4 touchdowns, and I think he had a rushing touchdown as well. So anyway, to contribute in that way on the road at Nebraska, like Mitch, there's different mentalities that we take on as quarterbacks based on the situation. And you think about going up to Lincoln, Nebraska, and both undefeated football teams, competitive game, prime time. And to play at that type of clip. So an 80% completion percentage, very efficient football. After watching what Nebraska was able to do, kind of stunning Colorado with blitzes and things the entire game. To go in there and play that efficiently, talk about just the mindset of a quarterback going into that environment. And for it to go the way it went means that the way he approached it worked out the way he was hoping that it would work out. How would you approach a big game on the road like that in that situation, just mentally as a quarterback to try to put yourself in a position to play at the clip that he played at this week?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think when you play a great opponent like that on the road, all you can think about is I have to win the game for my team. Mm-hmm. And I think it's a double-edged sword. And when that happens, I think you see a lot of guys lose the game early by trying to do too much. And I remember just watching the Penn State-West Virginia game earlier this year. Both quarterbacks out of the gate, huge game, week 1, just couldn't really settle in, and both are making mistakes. And it was just the first guy that settles in is going to win this game. And I think that's a big thing for these road games. And really the mindset is, okay, when we get there, let's not lose the game early. Let's do our job. And then once the game gets down to the third, fourth quarter, now we start to win the game for our team.
Yeah.
So you kind of got to have this double mindset of let's not do too much too early. Just do our job. Do what we're supposed to do. We're on the road. The momentum, if we turn the ball over at all, that place is going to be rocking. So we got to take care of the football, do our job. Second half, we're turning it up. We're winning a game for the team. We're making plays.
Totally. I love the way that you said it there, too. And I'm going to say it in Austyn's way of saying it is it's momentum control, right? It's when you go into the game, it's momentum control. It's what Mitch is saying is not to tuck your tail between your legs and not be aggressive. You still play the game to play the game to win it. But at the same time, you want to make sure that those 100,000 that are there in Lincoln, Nebraska don't get woken up early. And it feels like you're playing against 14 guys on defense. So how do you do that? You don't take stupid sacks. You throw the ball away when you have the opportunity to. You take the completion in the flat on the first 2 drives of the game instead of, trying to fit the corner, even though the corner stayed low on a smash concept. And it's you don't force it. But then I love when you're on the plus side of the field now, when I'm in Nebraska's territory and I have an opportunity to be aggressive, that's one of those plays where it's let it ride. Because even if they were to make a play, they're pinned down inside their own 20-yard line. It's not the same. You just can't take those big losses early. And for a guy to play that efficiently on the road, in a situation like that, it just means that all the things that Mitch just said, he did a very good job of controlling the moment and controlling the situation. Now, Garrett Greene, the West Virginia game. So West Virginia is down 2 scores, and those 2 scores, I think, needing to be touchdowns late in the game against Kansas, and Garrett Greene gets the ball. And, Garrett Greene had a lot of people talking about him going into the season, and then, such is college football, dude. It's 1 week you get your ass kicked by Penn State, and then you come back and you play Pitt, and that's the game that, can kind of keep the narrative with you and kind of keep everything that was discussed preseason going. And, it didn't go the way he wanted, even though he played fairly well. Like, it didn't go the way he wanted. And so now you come back into a situation this week against Kansas, and Kansas has started the season much differently than people thought they were going to start the season. So both teams going into that thing with a lot on the line in terms of what they're playing for, and to be down 2 scores and then do it the way he did it. Mitch, first bring us into like how he did it, like what you saw in terms of how he did it, and then kind of the implications of what that does for Garrett Greene's season on and off the football field.
Yeah, no doubt, especially at West Virginia. The dude had a ton of touch. I think he was 15 of 30 for close to 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, and had 17 carries for almost 100 yards and a touchdown. Wow. And so he was very involved in the game plan, obviously, and he's a baller. He's a playmaker, and he's one of their best players, so he should touch the ball. But I think they were down 28-17, if I'm not mistaken, with like 5 minutes left. So Kansas scores to make it 28-17 with 5 minutes left. So you're making it, 11-point game. So a field goal, a touchdown, 2-point conversion.
Great
tied
math,
up.
Man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'm not too bad at the quick math, but
dude, you're a wake guy. You're a wake guy.
Come on, dude. Of course, go Deeks. Always. I got in for my education. No doubt. So he just kind of took over towards the end of the game. It was a tough situation. They're down 11, and at that point you can kind of let panic settle in, because it's not only you start thinking, okay, we start this year 1-3. Last year we were 9-4 with a huge bowl win. A lot of goals and aspirations to maybe compete for the Big 12 with Texas and Oklahoma leaving. It's wide open in the Big 12, and this is a Big 12 opponent, and you don't want to start Big 12 playoff with a loss, especially versus Kansas. And Kansas is having a lot of success recently, but wouldn't be the cream of the crop in the Big 12 the last 10 years, right? So this is a big win. You got to get this win. And man, he just took over. Led a quick touchdown drive to put them down. That'd be 24-28. Defense gets a stop and throws a game winner with like 25 seconds left. And you just could see his emotion when he threw that touchdown, his just excitement and how hyped he was, because he knew what that meant. It kept their hopes alive. It kept their season alive, kept the conversations about him mostly positive. And, it's not a type of – they weren't at like a benching or firing point, not even close to that at West Virginia, because they've had success. Yeah. But the people are going to talk, and you're going to hear that. And this is just a big win for them, and you could tell that there was a lot of relief and a lot of joy when he threw that last touchdown. And it was awesome. He played his ass off and deserved to win. And being down 11 points with 5 minutes left, that's – When you see another team score to go up 11 with 5 minutes left, that's a kick in the gut. So being able to come back and just be aggressive, but play smart and throw a game winner, it was awesome. It's good to watch.
Well, to see that exhale too, right? Like you mentioned, is to see a guy. I know that if you've been in the fire the way that we have, like, what Garrett Greene's expectations were going into the season. That those expectations haven't been met. So whether he's hearing that from the fans or from his own program or even just himself, like, it's been a hard couple weeks to start the season, and then to do it in fourth quarter fashion to eclipse that, where again, like Mitch said, like, I don't think anyone was calling for his head, but like the narrative quickly kind of starts to unravel there a little bit. Yeah. And for a guy to score like that, express that emotion in that way with the implications of that win, just in the quarterback community, guys, always a good one to see. And this one's a good one to see too, is the situation down in the swamp at Florida. So you have DJ Lagway, who is like one of the top 2 or 3 quarterbacks in the country coming out of high school last year. And for Mitch and I, I'm sure we're on the same page here, where it's like, there's all this talk about these kids coming out of high school, and it's like, dude, they're very good players, and they're probably more prepared physically than they've ever been these days to go contribute at the collegiate level. But it's very different, throwing for a team that's recruited a lot of their players in high school and are just kicking the shit out of everyone around them, and you're physically just, in a much better place than most people around you. And it's not taking any credit away from DJ, but you just don't know until you see it. And Graham gets knocked out in that loss against Miami. So then DJ plays the next week against somebody who's not very good. But regardless of whether it was on air or not, the dude looked the right way. He looked good,
Yeah,
and he looked
good.
comfortable out there. And there's definitely a dynamic to their passing game that DJ gives them that it's not that Graham doesn't have it. It's just you're in that classic speculation of like, we have a true freshman who's doing a lot of the things that our older guy does, and we're not that good. So do we turn this thing over? I know the SEC Network and all of those guys talking on game day were like, give it to Lagway, and it's like they don't do that. They rotate them last week, like series by series, I'm fairly certain. And then this week, like they give it to Graham and they let him start the game and he kind of runs with it. And his stat line, he was 19 for 21 for 205 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. And that's against an SEC opponent. Mississippi State hasn't been great, but it's an SEC opponent. So I laid it all out there just to explain the backstory there, where you have a freshman, you have an older senior who's been through a ton of stuff, and the season has started rough for Florida in general. The freshman shines. Now you definitely have a quarterback controversy. They elect to go with the senior. The senior plays his ass off. So why don't we talk about more of the mindset, Mitch, of Graham as he goes into this, and just why that performance of 19 for 21, dude. Again, I don't give a damn if you're on air there too. Like that's impressive, let alone against an SEC school. So just talk a little bit through his psyche going through the week and kind of the implications of what's all there for Graham and Florida right now.
Yeah, I mean, they lose to Miami, right? And already on Twitter, you're seeing all these Florida fans just saying, "Oh, our season's done. Fire Napier, give it to Lagway." They're throwing the season away after one loss, and immediately they want the starting quarterback bench. They want what's new, what's flashier, and they want DJ Lagway to come in, start the rest of the games, let him learn. And college football is such a futuristic hoping. It's just like no one's ever thankful for what they have. Fans, I mean. And so already, they're wanting Graham Mertz done. They lost one game and they want him out. And so now he's dealing with that. Billy Napier is 100% on the hot seat. 100% on the hot seat. And you go into this game, so you get knocked out, right? Then you got to go watch his freshman, and then he backs it up, right? Plays his ass off. So now there really is a quarterback controversy. Now you got to split reps, which I hate as a quarterback because you're competing with the other quarterback in a game instead of competing against the other team. Like totally. It's just a tough scenario to be in. But you play well, you get the nod, and now you're going into SEC play, and you're going to play Mississippi State. And unlike Garrett Greene and Neil Brown, this is a get benched, get fired game.
Totally.
If they lose this game, Billy Napier's gone. If they lose this game, Graham Mertz is not playing anymore.
Done.
So to have that weight on your shoulders, on the road versus an SEC opponent, and to not panic and to just play your game and play it at a high level and win by, I think it was 45-24, to win by 3 scores and put up that stat line, I mean, super impressive. Just more impressive mentally, and be able to carry that weight and go in there and do that and get it done when like, I'm just being real, okay? I'm just being real. Your career is on the line because you're a 6th-year kid. You get benched. You're not going to the NFL. Right? You're never playing a snap of college football, a meaningful snap of college football again, probably. Your career is on the line, and you have that weight on your shoulders going into this game. And I don't think people understand that. All 18 years of football Graham Mertz has played, started at Wisconsin, transferred to Florida, all the games he's played, everything he's worked for, his career is on the line. And I don't think people understand that. So to be able to have that weight on your shoulders and then go get the job done at that high of a level, that's my quarterback of the week. We should have talked about him first. I mean, I got to give him all the props in the world because that's hard. That's hard to do. That's hard to do. He extended his career. One more game, and I'll tell you what. For the next 8 weeks,
that's what it's going to be.
It's the same. That's how it's going to be. If you want to play next week, you better win. His career is on the line ever since. And I don't. If he listens, I'm not trying to. He already knows. It's just the nature of it.
He already knows.
He already knows. I'm not trying to bring any stress to it. But it's just when you bring a kid like that in a program that's struggling with a coach on the hot seat, there's nobody except for you and your parents want you to be playing because that's just the nature of college football. And you could be a better player. It's just that's how it is. And Graham Mertz was that freshman. Graham Mertz was that freshman. He was that freshman. He's been there. So it's coming full circle. That's college football for you.
No doubt.
But hats off to him.
We've taken the weight of what Graham felt there. We've taken that weight, similarly in both of our careers. Like, talk about now underneath the helmet in pregame playing against Mississippi State. Like, just talk about the feeling there of how it actually affects a quarterback. So, like, when you're out there, what feels different when you know that those are the implications and that those are the things that are kind of hanging there in the air?
Man, it's almost weird. Like, you want to take it all in just in case, but you don't want to play that way, Like, it's such a weird feeling. And the people that only get to experience that are quarterbacks who know they're retiring after a Super Bowl game or guys who get benched. The complete opposites of a spectrum. The complete opposites of a spectrum. You know what I'm saying? So it's just so nuts. It's just so nuts. And you don't want to play that way, but you enjoy it a little bit more. And hopefully it gave him the strength just to say, fuck it. Like, if this is my last game, man, I'm going to go out there and have a blast. And I hope he was able to do that. But you got 8 weeks left, so hopefully you can do it 8 more times. That's just the nature of it, dude. It's a huge sigh of relief. And I hope he felt good about it, but got to get back on the saddle.
I was going to say, I know he felt good about it, but that might have lasted, 24 hours or hell. In his world, probably 8 to 10. Yeah, exactly. If that.
He's like, great. All I did was give myself more stress for another week.
Well, and to kind of, throw something on top of what Mitch just said there too, is like, for me, it always felt, because I've been in that situation a couple of times, and like, it felt like, can this please just go right early, dude? Can this please just go right early? Like that hitch that's open there. Like, can this cover 4 corner please just not be a part of the picture here? Like, please.
Yeah.
And like, I throw that first hitch and it's like that thing's complete on the outside shoulder. And I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. All right, let's go. Like, there's our first down. Let's play. Yep. Or same play, corner is not paying attention, kind of sits, and then comes up and slaps that shit down, and you just sit there and you go, fuck, dude, is it going to be like this today? It's like, it just changes the way the ball feels off your hand. It changes just the aura that you present in the huddle or with your guys. Man. Like, you're just tighter, dude. You're tighter. And so for you high school guys that are out there listening to this and can relate, I mean, it's like all of us are going through quarterback battles. I thought Mitch said something on here a couple weeks ago that I absolutely loved, which is like, dude, there's more guys not playing quarterback right now than there are playing quarterback, like, on these teams. And so just to think of, like, all of you guys in quarterback battles and in those situations, like, that's why Graham probably should have been the first guy that we talked about in this segment, is just because, like, to take the weight of that and then go 19 of 21 against an SEC opponent and play that way with all the backstories there, there's no way that part of him didn't say, fuck it, like Mitch said. And for him to do that takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of, like, especially a guy that's that seasoned in his career, like, it just takes a lot of awareness of the situation to then be like, you know what, but I can't do anything about it other than just play as well as I can play. So fuck it, I'm going to prioritize joy. And that's something for you guys, like, that I hope all of you guys can channel and feel. And I think Graham's a great example of that. So that concludes episode 17, guys. Quarterbacks of the week. And I'll say Emmett Brown is this quarterback over at San Jose State that just mechanically, guys, is absolutely ripping the shit out of it. So go take a look at him. That'd be fun. And then Jalen Milroe, Carson Beck. We'll see you on Saturday, dude. Mitch, anything else?
Man, lucky to be able to do this with you and enjoy talking about all this stuff. It's been fun.
I can't wait, bro. Now let's go talk about Jackson Arnold, all right? Peace.